And let's get into the really amazing space of these startups are mind-blowing. And we're going to open with a really, really cool startup and to try and figure out the capacity to manufacture and reproduce silicon micro devices and fluorescent probes. We need more technology to create better tests, better probes, better materials at scale. And to talk about that, I want to welcome our first startup, Antonio Quilez, MD at A4Cell. Big applause for Antonio.
Hi, everyone. I'm really thankful to be here today. I would like to introduce you to our company, Arise for Cell Nano Devices. Now we're all friends. It's A4Cell, OK? That's easier. So first message I would like you to have is you could imagine that you could have an eye inside a tiny living single cell and to be able to see what's happening at every instant. So that's what we do at A4Cell. So for this, we're facing this challenge that exists in the current pharma industry and the biotechnological sector, that we have been using different chemical compounds from the last century. But to move on to the future, to be able to analyze data in a more reliable way, we need to update the way we work. So for this, we are having this challenge where we use these probes that are toxic for the cells. We only detect few parameters. We are in the AI moment, so we need to increase the throughput. And for this, we need new devices and new technology that allows us to do it in a more efficient way. So for this, we have developed and we are producing the SPA chip technology that stands for Suspended Planar Array Chip, which are tiny devices of 3-micron size that can get internalized in living single cells without affecting the way they behave, without affecting their viability. They can keep living and reproducing themselves. And this way, we can monitor them using microscopes, using different instruments for analysis in an automated way. So imagine if we, after the pandemic, have seen that we need to have a fast response, we need to have something that can be automated and can be offering us reliable results. So the SPA chip technology, we use fluorescent probes that we can functionalize on the surface of these chips. They get inside the cells, and we can obtain the data. We have designed our product to be a cellomics kit that can be used like any other reagent in the lab, and can be used in combination with the standard platforms used in pharma and academic sectors. So I would like to highlight that they are non-toxic for the cells. That allows us to monitor them and study the response to the different drugs, to the different developments that we are doing in the lab over long periods of time, and extract the data, analyze in a more efficient way. So for this, we want to increase the comprehensive knowledge we obtain from these assays in the drug discovery process to make it more reliable, to monitor the cells over time, detect different analytes, and reduce the time of the workflow. So we have also some other areas that we're exploring: vaccination, organ on a chip, diagnostics, etc. So this is just the beginning. We have been doing incredibly well. We have got tons of financing from public and private investors. And right now, we are growing our family, so we are really happy to have the team we have. And thank you all. Thank you all for your time. This was all. So.
OK, questions for A4Cell? Questions for Antonio, please?
Any questions?
He blew your mind? There we go. He was like, should I not?
Yeah, I was hesitating. So I have one technical question. How do you deliver this into the cell?
You just simply add it to the cell culture medium. It works like any other reagent. It's just the nature of the silicon oxide that we have, that the cells can uptake them into the cytosol without any other process. So it's a natural way the cells have to internalize the device.
OK. And the second question is, what's your IP positioning? So what makes the solution sticky enough for what was it, Merck, I think, one of the players, to acquire you as you go versus develop yourself?
Yeah, we own our own IP, so it relies on the fact that we can produce and multiplex these particles in a planar way. We can produce tons of them, and we can apply different microprinting techniques to have the different spots on top of the chips to analyze the data. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Big applause for Antonio.
Thank you.
Very much for opening the blog. And we're moving from micro devices to something that's fundamental for human beings, which is being a nice person. That's the first thing. Second one is having a healthy spine. And doing surgery on the spine is extremely complicated. It's extremely risky. And to prevent that, to improve the efficiency, the accuracy, and optimizing time and cost, we have our next startup talking about how to build robotic assistants for spine surgery. Please welcome Cyber Surgery, Jorge Presa, CEO. Come on, big applause, Jorge. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I am Jorge Presa, CEO at Cyber Surgery, a robotic assistant for spine. There are multiple spine diseases. Indeed, third of all of us, we will have a spine problem in our life. The gold standard is vertebral fusion. It consists of inserting pedicle screws and connecting them with rods. It's a very complex procedure, and in some cases, a new surgery is required. As you can imagine, the spine market is growing. On the other side, robotic surgery is growing even faster, and spine market is a niche where accuracy is mandatory. There are main three competitors, and they are creating tendency. For knowing where is the patient, they use what is called optical tracking, some cameras and references on the patient and on the robot. So, okay, cameras, references. We have a different approach that we have already patented, is mechanical tracking. We connect directly the robot with the patient. So with this solution, we have performed extensive preclinical trials in phantom and in human corpse, and you can see how the robot is guiding the surgeon for inserting the screws in a minimally invasive way. Now the surgeon is moving, in this case, the cadaver, and as you can see, the robot moves, so you are going to go directly to the optimal trajectory always. Our value proposition, obviously, minimally invasive surgery is important for reducing the recovery time, but we have a safer surgery because of our tracking system. It's more reliable. We are not affected by occlusions, no cameras, quick startup, and the most important thing is that we reduce the surgery 10% of the time, so we reduce the cost. We are working in other development, mainly in artificial intelligence, and currently we are 26 people with a medical advisory board in Spain, Germany, Italy, and Boston and San Luis. Different business model, not CAPES, move to OPES, pay-per-use that we have already validated with several hospitals. And in Spain, we will use direct sales, but we need distribution in the other countries. So something that we are very proud is that we have allowance to begin clinical trials in patients this September. So we have passed all of the tests, and after clinical trials, we will certificate the product at the end of 2023. That is when we will begin the sales. Our objective is to install 25 hospitals globally at the end of 2025. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Jorge. Questions for Jorge, please. That side. Someone?
Everything is clear.
How is your robotic skills? Here you go. This is what happens for speaking.
Right, so here I go again. How long is your sales cycle for the hospital?
Sorry?
How long is the sales cycle? So once you're done with the clinical trials, how long is the sales cycle? You're selling to the hospitals, right? So how long is the sales cycle to a clinical institution?
Sorry, I don't understand the question there.
Sales cycle. How long does it take you to sell it to hospitals?
Okay. In this moment, as we have modified our business model, it's quite short. We have tests with Houston, Boston, San Luis, some hospitals. If it's an investment, the cycle could be around 3 years, just to try to sell one robot. In that case, you have other income related with disposables and maintenance. But we have modified, instead of selling the robot, if we move to pay-per-use or even renting, several hospitals that said, okay, I'm not going to invest in one robot, but I could rent that robot. So that's a good opportunity, and that's why we believe that we can install that 25 hospitals in a couple of years after certification.
Okay, thank you very much. Big applause for Jorge. Thank you so much. There's one thing about science, which is we need to do tests, but obviously it's not as easy to do tests in different areas, right? It would be great to be able to do tests on brains, for example, without having to open your head and take your brain out, right? Or you becoming dead. However, what if we could actually replicate organs for the study, for experimentation, and for the drug industry? Could we do that reliably? Well, to talk about that, we have our next startup. So all the way from Finland, please welcome Pratik Singh, founder and CEO of FinAdvance. Big applause.
Morning, everyone. I'm Pratik, founder and CEO of FinAdvance, where we are replicating human biology. We are a team of scientists, researchers, and engineers with a proven track record of making numerous exits in biotech and medtech industry. The challenge what we are trying to solve is this really long and expensive drug discovery process. You might know that every drug on the market, what you see now, has taken more than 10 years and upwards of $1 billion to develop. And the core problem is that all of that drug discovery has taken place on a lot of animals. And animals are not really humans, right? This is where FinAdvance is making a platform where we are growing human organs in miniaturized form, and then the pharma is able to do human testing without using humans at all. We have already shown that our platforms meet and exceed animal tests till date. And this is not only from our research published, but independent research groups and early-stage pharma customers. Now, our business model relies on the hardware platform where the organs are grown, the reagents, the chemicals which go along with it, and for bigger pharma, disease-specific IP licensing. With already revenue generating, we will be profitable by 2024. Now, we are working with a small team of contract research organizations in the US and Europe, as well as doing some big pharma pilots. But we are fully capable of working with the preclinical R&D market, which is upwards of $150 billion annually. Now, our platforms are IP covered with 4 filed already and 8 more filings before end of this month. Our IP covers the design of the platform, the application, and the production of these platforms. Our IP also makes us, till date, the highest throughput compared to even the most cutting-edge research platforms from MIT. With this, we have this very optimistic goal of replacing roughly 10 million animals used in Europe annually. In the past 3 years of our existence, FinAdvance has replaced 12,000 animal assays with our platforms. Today, we are raising a 5 million euros late seed to have presence, on-ground presence in US and Japan, as well as to build a very strong business development team. This is my hardworking team of 22 people based in Finland, and we do everything in-house, no subcontracting. With this, I would thank you for your attention, and I could take a few questions. Thanks. Yeah.
Judges, questions, please. Questions? There we go. That side, please.
Thank you for the speech. What can you say about competitors? Is there anyone doing something similar?
There is one competitor from Netherlands, Mimetas. So they are 3x lower throughput with the current platform, but the one what we are going to release in Grenoble in 1 month, then they will be 20x behind us. But yeah, we have only one.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
That was quick. Any quick question? Extra question? No? Okay. Well, big applause. Thank you very much, my friend Pratik. And we're moving this time, we're flying to the US, and we're going back to this idea of, you know, we've been living for a while in the world of quantified self. Who actually has a smartwatch or a smart device that tracks how many steps do you make? Raise your hand. Wow. And sleep patterns and things like that? Oxygen in the blood? Wow, okay, impressive. Well, what if I told you that we can have the same thing, but for other medical issues, like coughing? Well, to talk about the Fitbit of coughing, I want to welcome our next startup. So please welcome the co-founder of Hyphe, Julian Circo.
Hey, everyone. The patient-doctor relationship is pretty bad when you think about it. You wait for a few weeks or months or years. You go, you see someone for 15 minutes. They take a sample of your data. They send you home. That's it. But most of the symptoms, most of the things that happen to us that contain signal, contain information, happens when we're at home, when we watch TV, when we sleep, when we're out with our family. And we build tools that detect these symptoms when they happen, where they happen, 24 hours a day. And we allow doctors or drug developers, scientists, to look at your data over time, longitudinal data. Hive runs on any device, any smart device, on a smartphone, on wearables, on your favorite smart device, and it tracks your cough every day, 24 hours a day. And when you think about it, cough, because of the way that we've evaluated, has never been quantified. No one knows how to put a number of cough. You go and see a doctor and they say, how's your cough? It's bad, it's good. That's the level of it. Think about, imagine you do that in an infectious disease setting. The doctor says, do you have temperature? Yes. Is it high, low? I don't know. That's basically what we have with cough, and we've solved that problem. We quantify cough. We have generated the world's largest data set of cough sounds. We have more than almost 300 million samples in our data set, all of them collected from the real world. This is critical when you're an AI company, because we train our models on this real-world data, which is why our models perform better than any other model on the market. We've cracked the code in 18 months since we found it. We've cracked the code on building models for acoustics AI and deploying them at scale, validating them, and we believe that this playbook can be reapplied to so many other sounds. We have validated our models in more than 22 clinical trials all over the world. We have, across 9 indications, we have 7 peer-reviewed papers that we publish, so we're leading with science in what we do. We're a profitable company. This is probably the most important thing I should tell you. So we've passed break-even earlier this year, and we have clients among pharma, drug development, and consumer tech companies. I was supposed to show them to you, but then I was advised not to do that because maybe some of our clients have lawyers that wouldn't allow us to share that information. But if you get in touch with me, I'm happy to share more about our client portfolio. And I will stop here. Please get in touch with me. I'm happy to tell you more about our models. These are our three machine learning models that detect cough and quantify cough. And I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you very much. That was very sharp. Okay, questions for Julian? Anyone? Oh, there we go.
Am I picking the question? I don't know.
Just a very quick one. Are you able to do diagnostic of the type of disease that the patient could be having, but the type of cough that the patient has? Or
so we're doing diagnostics, a pretty complex thing, and there's a technological thing, there's a biological thing, and there's a regulatory thing. And we have to navigate the three of them. We believe that the most powerful diagnostic tool comes from combining longitudinal data, the diurnal pattern of your cough during the day, combined with perhaps the structure of the sound, and maybe combined with additional data streams. So we're working, our model called Patricia, pattern recognition, looks at your longitudinal data, which is probably the most important data stream. Do you cough more at night? Do you cough after food? Do you cough when you lie down? This stuff becomes visible in the longitudinal data, and it combines it with the structure of the sound. Some coughs sound differently depending on the disease, and with additional data streams. And we believe this is the only formula to do reliable diagnostics. We're the only team that take this approach. Most other teams say, oh, I have a thing that listens to one cough and puts a diagnostic. Very exciting, but probably biologically not so plausible.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Big applause for Julian. And we're flying now back to Spain, but in this case, we're going to talk about something that has been more or less, I would say, an absolute revolution, which is gene editing. The capacity that we have now to splice, to glue together, to connect different strands of DNA. However, this has taken decades to develop, and we're still not there yet. There's still an increasing need of tools to be able to do gene editing beyond CRISPR-Cas9. And to talk about that, I want to welcome our next startup. So please welcome the product manager at Integra Therapeutics, Carles Taulet. Big applause.
At Integra Therapeutics, we know that genetic mutations don't create superheroes. In fact, they normally have no effect, but when they do, they cause genetic mutations. There are over 10,000 genetic diseases and 75 million patients that suffer them. Historically, we have only addressed their symptoms during the whole lifetime of the patient. But in the recent years, several technologies have appeared that try to correct the faulty gene and cure the patients forever. However, this has been an undelivered promise. There are several technical limitations in the size of the gene that they can insert and in the precision in which they make this insertion. Also, the stability over time gets reduced, and they have lower effect over the years. And this is why we have created Phycat. Phycat brings in the best out of two worlds. The fine model is based on CRISPR-Cas, that's very precise. And the cut and paste model is based on transposases. Transposases already exist in our body. They make big translocations of genes very efficiently, but in a random way. So we tried to fuse them together, and what we saw is that we still had a lot of unwanted or off-target insertions, but after years of research and testing over 200,000 variants, we achieved precise insertion of genes of any size, and as you can see, there's zero off-target effects. And this places ourselves in a unique position among the competition. We can treat more diseases, and especially those that are caused by big genes. Our business model is based in a platform. We want to advance the development of Phycat, and license and co-develop with experts in each field so that we can launch several programs in parallel, reaching more patients faster and at a lower initial cost. This project is led by two outstanding scientists and entrepreneurs. Mark Way is one of the youngest PIs in Universidad Pompeu Fabra. He has created already 3 biotechs, and Avencia Sanchez Mejias has led the development of this project since the very beginning. We also have the support of 2 very relevant advisors, George Church at the University of Harvard. He is a world-renowned key opinion leader in gene editing, and Dr. Mark Boniari, that he has built and sold one of the biggest biotech unicorns. Last year, we closed the biggest seed round in the history of Spain with a syndicate of international investors. And with this funding, we want to make gene therapy a reality for all the patients. Thank you, and I will listen to your questions.
Thank you very much, Carles.
Thank you.
Question for the judges? Here we go.
Sure.
Active corner there.
It is an active corner.
What's happening on this side?
Thank you very much for the presentation. It is a super hot field, though. The question is, what integration efficiencies have you been able to achieve to that moment?
In the levels of double digits. It's also, we are very preclinical stage. We are further improving the technology. We have our own evolutionary platform. And the results that you've seen is with our first candidate, a triple mutant, as we call. We are in the 5th generation. All of them are better, with better efficiencies than our current one. So we expect to even further this.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. So have you heard about Tome Biosciences?
Tome, yes.
Yes. So can you quickly compare, like, do a one-sentence comparison of yourself to them?
Well, I would say our precision, our unprogrammable insertion. we are capable of decide where in the genome we want to insert.
Okay.
And with this, we can place the whole gene. We can disrupt at the moment that we insert the gene, or we can just place it in a safe harbor, securing that we don't have any unwanted effects.
Okay, right. Thank you.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
the last one. What is the actual involvement? I want you to be super honest on this one.
Okay.
What is the actual involvement of Mr. Church on this? Because I happen to know him personally. I'm very interested. Like, how is he involved with the company?
Well, Mark Way used to be a student in his lab. In fact,
Right.
he was a founding scientist of eGenesis, one of his other companies, and we, in fact, are. This is confidential. Well, we are working with them for some things, but as he is working in probably dozens of companies, his involvement is as an advisor. When we get our scientific advisory board, he comes.
Okay, big applause. Thank you very much, judges. Thank you very much. Carles, pleasure having you. I love it, right? We have judges that will go like, yeah, you know what, I'm an expert on this. Keep on talking. I'm not convinced. Out of all the ones you chose to pick on, like that one is like super precise. Wow, impressive. Thank you very much, by the way. And our next startup, I would say, all of the startups you're seeing here, for very obvious reasons, are heroes. But our next startup is a personal hero of mine, because sometimes when we think about innovation and development of these things, there's always this lingering question about how big is a market, right? If it's not big enough, then we won't put resources behind this. And sometimes we leave on the sidelines rare diseases and rare circumstances that don't get access to cutting-edge technology. Well, precisely to change these kind of things, we have our next company, which is the first wearable pediatric exoskeleton worldwide to treat and generate therapy for neurological diseases in childhood. And without further ado, I just welcome our next startup. So very, very big applause to Ignacio Barranque, co-founder and commercial director at Marcy Bionics.
Hi, hello everyone. I am Ignacio Barranque, the CMO and co-founder of Marcy Bionics. Let me introduce to you Elena Garcia Armada. She is also co-founder of the company and the CEO of our company also, and she is the leader manager of a public research team specialized in working robots here in Madrid, and just focused on industry. She has the opportunity to test one of her robots in a child, in a girl that has left a quadriplegic with a spinal cord injury after a crash accident. So Elena suffered a great impact. So she decided to change his in research in industry to the healthcare. So that's why, I'm sorry. So that's why we analyze the market, and we realize that there are a lot of children needed this technology. In Spain, we have more than 200,000 people, children with cerebral palsy or neuromuscular diseases needing help to walk, and the current treatment they are receiving. So it's not enough to mitigate the symptoms of the evolution of the issue, the pathology, or the sedation process. So the more therapy they receive, so the more are going to prevent the situation of the children. So we also analyze competitors, and we realize that all there are focused on adults. So that's why we create the company. So, and we did it. We have an exoskeleton. It's the first and unique exoskeleton for children in the world. So better than me, let the families talk to you. How are the benefits of our technology? This not the sound.
Se dio cuenta de que la perspectiva del mundo cambiaba al estar en una posición de pie, y para él poder caminar y estar de pie ha supuesto una evolución a todo nivel. Está más fuerte, cuando hacemos la transición con Jorge se agarra con más fuerza, el tronco y la cabeza lo sujeta mucho mejor, la manipulación, incluso fonar, porque al estar de pie el habla también sale más fuerte, y sobre todo es a nivel de atención, de participación, de autoestima. Para él ha sido un subidón el tener esta posibilidad, ¿no?, de estar como sus compañeros de pie.
I'm sorry, there were subtitles, but I don't know, there are no subtitles. So yes, this is not only talking about the physical or emotional improvement, it's also to reduce cost. So we are to save millions of euros for public health system every year. And now we are doing sales. We have sales in Europe and also in Latin America. For example, Sanitas and Aitameni are clients of us. So, but why not we have clients in the public sector? This is the question that we can solve, because we are the most recognized in our company in Europe, and especially in the community of Madrid. So, French government, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
I feel horrible. I'm the evil guy. I'm really sorry. It's okay. So stay. Judges, questions for Ignacio?
Hi, thank you for the presentation. My question is, how are you thinking to ensure the access to all patients? I mean, all children are need this
Sorry, how are?
Yeah, I mean, how could you ensure the access to all the children that could need this? I mean, how are you planning it?
Yeah, our first objective, obviously, is to be in the public health, not only in Spain, but also in France or UK in the reimbursement process. But it's a large project, it's a complex project, and we need the help of politicians. It's only a politician decision. It's not a questionable need of the development of the solution. It's just a politician has to, for example, here in Madrid, they want to say, okay, we want it in the public health, and the solution is working. We have clinical results also, and we have a lot of people waiting for the therapy.
Super fast, please.
A very quick one. So let me, for once, be actually useful here, not picking on people. So if that makes any sense for you, I'll be happy to introduce you to the biggest pediatric hospital in the Baltics, right? So just talk to me after the event or during the event, and I'll be happy to.
Business there. Business right there, my friend. Yeah. Big applause. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. Hey, it's your job to pick on them. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's what we like. Okay, they're here to be grilled. They're here to defend their companies, and that's perfect. Okay, so we're flying back. We're staying here in Spain with a company which for me is quite interesting. There's an increasing interest on biohacking and using different supplements to eat, or we're starting to focus more on the biome, on how bacteria actually react and change things in our body. And we rarely give a thought that a lot of the pills that we take, a lot of the medication that we take, it's not either stable or is not capable of being absorbed correctly through the body, right? And precisely to change that, to create better delivery mechanisms, to create better healthy things to deliver our therapeutics. Good? Did a good job? I want to welcome our next speaker, CEO and co-founder of NuCap's nanotechnology, Mariano Otto.
Hello, I bring you a revolution for nutrition. NuCaps improves your health as we help to produce better food, drugs, and supplements by making bioactive ingredients stable, easy to absorb, healthy, and natural. You know, diet-related illnesses, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, are now the main cause of death in the world. And about 80% of the population have difficulties for having a healthy diet. All this is increasing hugely the demand for diet supplements, functional food, nutraceuticals, and probiotics. But producers face great difficulties to create innovative products. The results have a bad taste, or low stability, or have no real effect on health, and they are very expensive. So the future of nutrition requires a natural solution to get a real and better absorption of bioactive compounds. And now we have the solution for all those pains, Nano Encapsulation. NuCaps increases the absorption by up to 30 times. Can be done for 70% less cost. And we can increase shelf life of bacteria from days to months. These nanospheres work as natural carriers that protect the ingredient with a controlled release in the gut. And the capsules are made solely from food proteins. We do not use additives, preservatives, neither synthetic materials, just natural proteins. The technology has been fully validated, is protected, and we have scaled up to industrial scale. NuCaps is a B2B biotech company that develops and produces tailor-made health inside functional ingredients with probiotics and bioactives microencapsulated in food proteins for nutrition and health. The final product is a dry powder that with suspendability in any liquid that can be compressed, put in a pill, or into food and drinks, resistant even thermal processes. There are other microencapsulation technologies, but our proteins are more effective, half price, natural, and healthier. We have a great scientific team with 6 doctors with plenty of experience. NuCaps is a company based in Pamplona, Spain, and it's a company created and held by a food tech center, a private university, and a pharma industry. In 3 years, we have met really innovation-oriented clients and partners in 11 countries in Europe and South America. Our latest proposal, a microencapsulated probiotic for food industry to prevent and solve microbiota disorders. Our next challenge is to reach new markets, clients, and social impact. And that's NuCaps. We make possible the incorporation of any bioactive or microorganism into any food, drink, or supplement in a natural way. So please come to me and imagine together all the possibilities offered by this technology to improve diets and then people's health. Thank you very much for your attention.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mariano. I feel bad. I keep creeping behind you guys. It's like we're nearly getting there. Okay, questions for Mariano. This side? No? That side? No?
That was so clear. It's free on nanomaterials.
No one? No questions? No? Well, Mariano, you did a great job. Thank you very much. Big applause. And now we are flying all the way to Israel with something that's quite interesting because everyone talks about how important it is to deploy automation, to deploy artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning algorithms, especially in the medical and the health industry. And we've seen a big crop of companies in that space. However, very few people actually pay attention to the fact that to have good results with these algorithms, we need massive amount of data. An amount of data that very rarely you actually find accessible for your teams to actually work with. And precisely to fix that and to increase the capacity of these systems, we have our next company, as I said, all the way from Israel. They're a synthetic data company precisely to train the next generation of AI in healthcare and beyond. So please welcome the CEO of Sentient Med, Fabian Schwartzman. Big applause for Fabian.
Thank you, thank you. I think that this is the first time that my last name is spelled correctly, so good job. So before I start telling you a little bit about what our company is doing, let's talk a little bit about digital pathology. So digital pathology is a space that more than $1 billion has been invested in it for the last 5 years. Yet it still doesn't seem to pick up, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is data. In order to get to really high accuracy, like these companies need not only a lot of data, but well-balanced and not having and having a well-distributed data set. And in order to get that, first of all, it costs a lot of money because you have to go to several different hospitals and get data from them. Plus, the process takes a lot of time. There's a bias in the data sets because each hospital has bias toward their technology and their environment. And obviously, there's the problem of patient privacy. And we're here to solve a significant chunk of that problem. So at Sentient, we are on a mission to leverage the power of synthetic images to build the next generation AI solutions, starting with healthcare. And what our unique technology can do is actually generate tailor-made synthetic images that can complement any data set in the field of digital pathology and beyond, as we'll discuss in a second. And we've already shown that we can increase the accuracy significantly to the point that it could enable these markets to flourish and eventually for us all to get better treatment. Our technology is imaging agnostic, so what we do today we can do in digital pathology, but we can also do it in medical imaging, and even we can go as far as autonomous vehicles and thermal images there. Basically, everything that has like a multi-scale nature and that have that complex issues of generating images, we can step in and help there. Our unique technology allows us actually to combine two of the complex things. First of all, have images that look real, that have like a good texture, and have the spatial distribution that we want. So we can literally, if we want to produce a pathology slide that have a fat cell here and another and a positive cell right next to it, we can do that. And that's critical now to really get all the potential use cases, which eventually that's what helps increase the accuracy of the algorithms. The solution that we offer. So first of all, as I mentioned, like tailor-made synthetic images for companies that are developing AI, but we can do much more than that. We can actually enable that market to grow much further than that. And what we want to do is we want to build like a sort of a Netflix for synthetic images in digital pathology, which means that for everyone that wants to start developing an algorithm, instead of going through all the hassle of getting data from a hospital, paying a lot of money for that, waiting for a long time in order to get it, they could just get into our platform, take the data that they want, and start working with it. In addition, since we need really little amounts of data in order...
We're out of time.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just 2 seconds. We're already working with Roche and in a project with them. We've shown that we can actually improve AI algorithms by over 10%, which is really significant. And that's it. I'll be able to take any questions.
Thank you very much. I know.
I got so excited. It was hard for me to stop.
I'm a pitch coach. I know how hard it is to fit it in a 3-minute pitch. And those that laugh, I will invite you to come here and tell your whole story in 3 minutes because it's very complicated. But these are nice people. It's good that you got excited, right? You can keep getting excited with them afterwards, okay? Anyway, questions for Fabian, please. Questions? There we go.
Right, so let me help you with my question a bit. So you name-dropped Roche already, that's good. What I'm interested in is, so what are your actual industrial validation cases, right? Roche is obviously one, but then what's your pipeline for the next ones? And what are the pathology areas that you actually improved, right? Because synthetic data and sort of enhancing actual data with synthetic data, that pitch has been around for quite a while now, right? So what is there that is improving, actually?
The specific use case that we improved was related to lung cancer, but we know that we can do that. We're already working on additional use cases, and we started with Roche, but we already have some other companies that we're speaking with, in addition, we are part of a large and very distinguished consortium that applied to an EU grant related to synthetic data. There was like a specific grant in healthcare for synthetic data, and we applied. There it will be something related to colorectal cancer. And we are working on a few other use cases in lung, in breast, and more.
You're right. So, but then with the lung, what was the specific endpoint that you were after, right? What was it? The diagnostics. So you were 10% more efficient in actually finding it in the images, or what was it?
So in lung cancer, well, I can geek out on that for a while, but basically there's a measurement of how much a person is sick and at what point you give the patient a drug. So let's say if you look at at a regular histogram of people that were tested with this specific.
Fabian, come on, finish. If he keeps asking questions, you're going to spend half an hour here telling us your whole company.
So with this specific immunohistochemistry, like we were able to show that we were able to improve the accuracy around the decision point, which is where there's almost no data.
Big applause for Fabian. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, judges. And we have two more. We're trying to fix the music. I'm sorry about that. It's like, what the hell is going on with the music? Now we have soundtrack. Anyhow, we're going to go fast. Two more starters to finish the block. And the next one, we go to Spain and tell you a story. I had a friend. Is anyone here from Australia? Any chance we have any Aussie here? Anyone has gone to Australia? Raise your hand if you've been to Australia. Well, some people. Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, in Australia, the thing about Australia is that everything can eat you and kill you, basically. And one of the nastiest things that there are the funnel web spiders. And I had a friend that a friend of him got bitten, so they took them to the emergency room, and they sat them there, and he said, well, the funnel web spider bit me, do something. And yeah, we'll come back. 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. After 4 hours, it's like, this thing bit me, do something. It's like, oh, you're still alive. Okay, that's good. Then you find there's no antidote. So it's fine, you didn't die already, so you're going to have the worst 2 weeks of your life. Well, it was true. He had 2 very bad weeks, but he survived. My point with this is there are certain things, certain issues in the medical industry where you're kind of alone. And heart strokes is one of those things where you have a heart stroke and it's like, oh, you're alive. Okay, wait there. It's going to be pretty rough, okay? We hope you get better. How about we change that? How about we're capable of managing a stroke and providing a much better prognosis for certain things, like strokes. So please welcome our next startup, Time is Brain, and her CEO, Alicia Martinez.
Good afternoon. At Time is Brain, we create the stroke electrocardiogram. I'm Alicia Martinez. I'm Time is Brain CEO, but I'm also a neurologist. And I know at first hand stroke is a devastating disease with very poor outcomes due to the lack of technologies to support the decision-making of healthcare staff from stroke onset. Today, there is no technology that ensures that each patient is transferred to the right center at the right time to receive the gold standard therapy that is the endovascular treatment. And this is why its efficacy is limited only to 50% of patients. Our solution is the stroke ECG. It's Brain20, a portable medical device that monitors continuously the brain electrical function from stroke onset. Brain20 automatically records N20, a biomarker that Time is Brain has clinically validated and patented. It combines hardware, the device, and its disposable electrodes and software with proprietary algorithms able to provide unprecedented information of the patient's prognosis. We designed Brain20 for any kind of healthcare staff, and it's usable both in a pre- and in-hospital setting. Compared with the current state of the art, with Brain20, we increase the number of patients potentially candidates to the treatment. We reduce the time to treatment. And for the first time, we can monitor the whole procedure for prevent complications and improve the patient's outcome. Our market is the global stroke market management that will reach 31 billion euros in 2023. And at that moment, Brain20 market will be 2.1 billion euros. Our target customers are hospitals and also insurance companies, and our business model is B2B and is based on marketing of the medical device, its disposable electrodes, and the fee from the IoT service associated. Time is Brain founders are neurologists from Germán Strias Comprehensive Stroke Center in Badalona, including the international renowned stroke key opinion leader Antonio Dávalos, but we also come with a team with experts in tech transfer, in biomedical engineering, quality and regulatory affairs, and also marketing and sales. We also come with the support from an advisory board. We closed successfully a seed round last year, and we will launch the Series A at the end of this year to obtain CE mark and start Brain20 commercialization. we start the scale-up of the product and also multi-center clinical trials, and a potential exit event will take place around 2025 because we have received the interest from corporates as Medtronic or Stryker. Brain20 is a breakthrough technology that addresses the unmet needs of 13 million people worldwide, and it represents a paradigm shift in acute ischemic stroke patient management. Many thanks.
There we go. Right on the money, right on the money. Very good. Questions, judges? Do we have any questions for Alicia?
The corner.
Anyone? No? We're going to give you a prize. I love it.
I do have a question. So what are the critical sort of value inflation milestones that you need to achieve to actually get on the table for Medtronic and Stryker? Because these indeed could be your #1 and #2 acquisition partners, right, as you go. And I know you already have the clinical trial that has been done. That is awesome, obviously. But then what are the milestones? What do you need to prove?
Hopefully, our main risk for us was the technological risk, but it's almost over because we have the first version of the prototype in July, and we are happy because everything goes as we expected. And we also come with the interest from hospitals in Catalonia to validate not the technology, but the medical device. So for us, we think that the critical milestone could be to generate market traction and to avoid or facilitate the acceptance by the scientific community of the product. I myself am a neurologist, and we are tough people to adopt new technologies, so they will need for sure multi-center clinical trials to adopt the technology. This will be the critical, maybe the critical milestone. But hopefully, we expect to establish partnership with these corporates to conduct these multi-center trials.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Alicia. Big applause. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to be such a time burster, but the gods of time at the backstage keep whipping me. We have to go for lunch, and we still have our last and final, but not least, startup of the block. And it's quite interesting because, you know, it's becoming increasingly hard to get experts in any field, but especially true in the medical field. And if you are in places where it's hard to get remote, they're too remote to get them, and you start having an increase of diseases or conditions that need to be constantly monitored, then you have an issue because you don't have enough hands, you don't have enough people. So how do you actually scale that? How do we scale the monitoring of diseases that will be with us all our lives, or nearly all our lives? So please welcome our last but not least, the last startup, Tucubi, and its co-founder and CEO, Maria Gonzalez. Big applause for the last one.
Okay, hello everyone. I hope you're not so hungry. I'm Maria. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tucubi. And what we do is we develop empathic AI to automate medical monitoring phone conversations. Because we are living in a moment where the demand for care is only increasing due to aging, due to the prevalence of chronic conditions, while on the other hand, there is a huge global shortage of healthcare professionals. So this imbalance is making healthcare systems more and more unsustainable. So that's why we created Tucubi, to tackle this thing, to help doctors and nurses to scale their ability and focus their time where they are needed the most. So we created the first CE-mark voice-based medical assistant. Her name is Lola, and she monitors health status of patients by speaking with them via phone calls. So this means that if a doctor has, and this is already happening today in Madrid, for example, if a doctor has 1,000 patients assigned, but she can only attend 15 patients today personally, with Tucubi, she knows who are the 15 patients that she really needs to attend today, and how. She just needs to choose in our platform what type of monitoring protocol she wants for her patients. So for example, if it is a post-surgery monitoring, evidence-based protocol about bleeding, about infection symptoms. And Lola automatically calls her patients at the hour and frequency defined. They have a natural conversation, and the natural language processing algorithms analyze the conversation, structure it, and prioritize it, and send her back. So now she knows who are these 15 patients, because 10 a.m., and Lola has already spoken with the 1,000 and sent information back to her. So we work with healthcare systems, helping them augmenting the care capacity and improving outcomes, and also with pharma companies, helping them understand how patients behave in the real world and provide them beyond the pill services. And all of this with great patient satisfaction, because they do not feel they are speaking with a machine. What they feel is that there is someone keeping an eye on them when they are at home. And so far in 2022, we've already multiplied by 2 last year revenues with these clients. Lola is speaking daily with hundreds of patients in Spanish, in Portuguese, and in English, with an outstanding patient engagement of 95%. And there are more voice companies in the healthcare space, but most of them are focused on the administrative tasks, because medical phone calls are complex, are sensitive, and are regulated. And we have a huge competitive advantage here, because nowadays we are the only European company with CE clearance to automate medical phone conversations. And our business model is a SaaS model where clients pay an annual subscription based on their size. And we are leaders in the market. Well, sorry. We are leaders in the market because our team is nailing it. We are biomedical engineers, conversational designers, doctors, and nurses, all of us working to make healthcare efficient and to enable doctors to provide the best care for the patients in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. Well done. Okay, final questions for our startups. Judges? Mondragon is waking.
Hi, congrats for the presentation. My question is regarding the plans for escalate the business. The plan for escalate the business.
Okay, yeah. We go sell directly to private hospitals and pharma companies, but what we do in parallel is a B2B2B model when we partner with big electronic health record companies and also telemedicine companies. So they are already implanted in the hospitals, and they need to implement new services because they need to increment the revenue, basically. So the product itself is API first. So what we try to do is to be integrated with any platform in the market to make it like the escalation is